Welcome to the Lynch Factor. My name is Michael Lynch, and this is what we'll talk about today. We have a very special announcement to all the paranormal researchers out there in the field, and some in the lab. We have now come across the ability to put ghost busting and modern physics together into one equation. This equation puts paranormal investigations into a physics that deals primarily with electromagnetic energy. This energy is called signaling. The mind and its ability to receive information and transmit information falls along these patterns. So now we have an equation for consciousness. But the consciousness was related in terms of signaling, not only to the brain, to the body, through the autonomic and nervous systems that it has, sympathetic, autonomic, but also in communication beyond the body. Now, some people call this telepathy, some people call this vivid imagination. But whatever it is now in the realm of solid physics. The paranormal is virtually and primarily made up of energy. That's all it is. The human soul, the human consciousness is primarily energy by itself. The signaling inside that energy is what makes it universal. So we have energy, which equals now information. Albert Einstein and Dr. Fermi believed that there was no connection between energy and information. But to save his graces, Albert Einstein said, some energy, not all, and only in certain conditions, can be used as information. Dr. Fermi said, no, all energy is a form of information. Even the contemporaries to this very day in the year 2000 and in the 21st century still see and relate energy to information. So E equals I. Once we have established this in the realm of consciousness, because every varied sense, like smell, hearing, vision, sight, all have a multitude of frequencies in which it will perceive and transmit by. The human body is a receptor, that's true, but it's also a container. And that container can open up and the consciousness can leave the body. Now, many of you say, well, that never happens to me, but it does. 8 hours a day, you should be getting sleep. During that sleep, your mind rapidly REMs. In those states of REM, you're receiving and digesting information which may or may not be in this reality. Some people actually leave their bodies and have a near-death experience while asleep. No matter how you narrow it down, as long as you establish that there is a consciousness, therefore consciousness equals information. And information equals energy. Whether it be coming from our sun, whether it be coming from the internet, cell phones, broadband cable, radio transmission. It does not matter where it comes from or what it is, as long as there's a receptor in order to receive that information and make sure that it is cognitive. Once we get past that problem, then we enter in a whole new realm of paraplasma physics, or electromagnetic plasma physics, which consciousness, the mind, all falls under. Because that's how an EEG is done. That's how many of our medical devices monitor the brain waves and the heart, the rhythm of the body, is through those signaling processes. Those signaling processes convert into energy, which then we can analyze, and therefore energy within the body is also information which we derive from the instruments that we use. So if you have a videotape of a ghost, of a wraith, of a consciousness, human, animal, whatever form, maybe it's an angel, maybe it's not, whatever that form takes, whatever it is electromagnetic physics of plasma energy, which is equal to information. So all the skeptics out there have failed. Everyone who's poo-hooed the paranormal has now failed, because now we see that the electromagnetic plasma responses from consciousness is information. It is in the signal that the information is stored. The signal then goes, transmits to the direction that it is directed. So there's a monitoring of this information within the consciousness. So there's a message within the signal is then transmitted. Whether you call it the power of prayer, whether you call it a mantra, an incantation, a chant, name it, that is the signal with a coded information embedded in it. So when you pray, it's a real thing. When you do voodoo, it's a real thing. When you have instant responses to this information, it is a real thing. We can transmit our minds into water. We can pray over water. Priests do this all the time, and you can do it too, and the water will change because of the electromagnetic signature of that thought. The thought becomes information. It is received in the water, and it's called the messages of water. You can look it up on YouTube. Of course, a lot of people say this is all fake, it's all fraud, but the physics is real. We can no longer deny the physics of electromagnetic plasma activity than we can our own sun. E equals I. It has been a proven fact. And all and everything in the paranormal, whether you believe in psychics, whether you believe in dowsing, whether you believe in whatever, ghosts, wraiths, haunted activity, poltergeists, I can go down the list. It is all information being translated into energy, or it's energy that is equally translated into information, and therefore the result is real. The sun puts out energy all the time. It comes through our atmosphere. My skin will receive that information, and then the melanin in my body automatically tan. The iris in my eye automatically shrinks, because it's receiving signals of information that it has to cope with. Just like everything else receives information that it also has to cope with. So a radio receiver, a radio that's receiving information through electromagnetic information, deals with it as it is. So whatever dial it's on, that's the frequency it's going to receive. The human body is totally different. It has a wider bandwidth than we could ever possibly imagine. Thousands of different ways that we receive information. And again, 1,000 different ways on how we release the information. FBI, CIA analysts look at a person's micro features to see if they're lying or not. The idea is that is, again, a signal transmitted to another person in order for them to gain information. The level of paranormal activity is equal to the information of the activity. The paranormal genre is no longer put to the side, an outcast, a bastard child of physics. It is now integrated within the same systems as radio, television, internet, cell phones. The list can go on. The paranormal world is now a full physical world in electromagnetic plasma that is inherent and congruent to the dimension that we live in. This has been an update. I'm Dr. Lynch. Stay tuned for more of the Lynch Factor.